What's up, Laker Nation? This is episode 4 of the Downtown Lakers podcast. I'm your co-host, Ethan Shirazi. This is your other co-host, Jake Ellenbogen. Man, what a terrible loss last night to a buzzer beater, man. To a Bulls team, we lost 2 in a row, lost the season series, lost 4-5. What's going on, Jake?
Ethan, it's good to see you. I wish we didn't have to talk about the tough stuff, but hey, this is why these things have to exist. Because all anybody's going to be talking about is the buzzer beater. But I think what's really important here, and I mean, this is a reminder, is that you can take this, and it depends on who you are as a person. You could be optimistic and say, oh yeah, it was just a fluke. And the way you can kind of talk yourself into any situation is kind of funny, right? Because you could absolutely say it was a fluke, right? I mean, what are the odds of them hitting all those shots in that short amount of time? Very, very slim. You could also take it as, and be overly negative and say they're done. It's doomsday. This team's over. I'm going to choose to take a little bit of both sides. I'm going to choose to go from this route, Ethan. This is my first thought. This team is not a good road team. They haven't been all year, and that hasn't changed since they got better. They're a great home team, not a great road team. In addition to that, they also really struggle closing out games that they've dominated. This game should not have been remotely close. They gave up 44 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, absolute embarrassment. I mean, they controlled, the first half. Don't get me wrong. The first quarter, Chicago, they were up by 10, whatever. But, Larry Drew, coach of, a few teams, always used to say, if you're on the road and you're down by 10, you got a shot, right? So then the second quarter, Lakers end up scoring 37, outscoring them by 11. Then the next quarter, you saw in the third quarter, the Lakers dominated. They just took over the game, 32 points to 17. And then the fourth, they imploded. They had a big lead, and they just gave it away. And, I think, again, the dangerous thing here is to look at this and be like, this is a fluke, and brush it off. It's not a fluke. This is exactly why, for the people out there that think the Lakers can't win it all, this would be how they don't win it all. This right here, like stupid mistakes. The LeBron inbound pass was the worst thing I think I've seen all year for them, because it was just so lazy. And this is, I believe, the greatest player of all time. And I mean, it's funny because you have, the back-to-back where the night before they win on a buzzer beater. But I felt the same way that game. It should not have come down to that. So this Lakers team isn't dominating the way it should. Are they streaky? Maybe, but I think a lot of it does have to do with they're not a great road team, and they struggle down the stretch. And, I think that's something where JJ Redick might have to change some things up and make them more comfortable, because right now, these guys late in games, it's been a struggle, and it just pisses me off for Austin Reeves. Huge shot late in the game, about 3 seconds left. And then you have that prayer. Obviously, they're not hitting that prayer 100 times out of 100, but it doesn't matter, because Ethan, they hit it last night. They put the Lakers down at 44-29. They're tied for fourth, currently holding over the tiebreaker with Memphis. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. It's not to say they can't win it all, but my thought exactly is that, I think LeBron James and Josh Giddey had polar opposite days. So Giddey, he had triple-double and was really, really good, but he also had 7 turnovers. And I think those are the things that kind of get, left behind. Those 7 turnovers kind of really allowed the Lakers to take over the game. But then when push came to shove, Giddey stepped up in a big way, did everything he could to help the Bulls win, and even literally won the game for the Bulls. So it's one of those things where we've seen it. This is the beauty of basketball. You could start off, get to a horrible start. You don't have a shooting night. I mean, LeBron James was the hero last night with the tip-in, the night before. So
right.
It's not like I want to sit here and totally bash LeBron because, he had a bad, I wouldn't even say a bad night. I thought it was a pretty solid game all around because, he did end up having 12 assists and 17 points, but the ending was just so uncharacteristic of a LeBron James ending for a game. And so I think when Laker fans complain about that, they're totally within their right.
Right, and absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, look, like every team in the NBA faces adversity, and it turns out the Lakers just has their adversity like 9 games left in the season, which is absolutely terrible, terrible time to to have it right now with like playoffs looming in the next few weeks. And like you said, tomorrow's a big game in Memphis, which is a big tiebreaker game, which can eventually be like a either a 4th seed or 5th seed for Lakers going in the playoffs or possibly going down to the play-in scene. I mean, we got to start winning at some point. Losing four of the last 5 games is just terrible.
Yeah, it really is. It kind of almost, eliminates that 8-game win streak. You kind of
Right.
stop thinking about it because you're like, well, this is what they are, the here and now, and you're running out of games, so they're going to make the playoffs. We know that. They're going to make the play in, at least we know that. But the playoffs are not a guarantee, and that's the thing that is important. And JJ Redick has said it. We don't want to be in the play in. We want to be in the playoffs. Well, you got Memphis, you got Houston, you got Golden State. That's going to be a tough 3-game stretch. You got New Orleans. Yeah. Okay, maybe not as tough, but then you got back-to-backs Sunday and Tuesday with OKC, Dallas, Houston, Portland. Dallas is still in the mix, and AD is back. So
right. as long as they have AD, they're still a good team. It doesn't matter.
That's still going to be a fight. Houston is still a problem. So here's the thing. You can look at this one of 2 ways. You can look at this as, oh, crap, we're in trouble. You can look at this as, this is a huge opportunity here. One thing I will say, the Lakers played down to their competition, but they play up to it. So like the Celtics, despite the fact that, like earlier in the game or earlier in the year, Celtics were clearly favored in that game. They win that game, right? And you look at like the Nuggets, for instance. The Nuggets, all their guys sitting, all the Lakers guys sitting, and they were in that game. They played up to the level of competition. But like Orlando is not a good basketball team. They should not be losing to Orlando by 12. Chicago, yeah, they're desperate. They're fighting. They might get in the play-in. They're not that great. They should not have swept the Lakers on the year. They do play down to their competition. They absolutely do. No one can tell me otherwise. The Brooklyn loss, 111 to 108. I mean, that was, but then of course, you have them, Indiana. That's a really good basketball team. They beat them on a buzzer beater. I thought it still should have been closer. I thought it still should have been not closer. I thought they should have controlled the game more. But yeah. Indiana's a good team. My point being is that I expect them to come out with fire, be able to play up to Memphis's standards, be able to play up to Houston, be able to play up to Golden State. I think they might drop that New Orleans game because based on their pattern is that they play down to the guys, so that's just my take. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I feel like I've noticed a pattern where, yeah, they're clearly playing down to competition and playing up to it when they have to.
I remember after I forgot what losses or what game in general, but I remember Luka was saying in the post game, he's like, yeah, I think we got a little bit too comfortable with like the winning streak. We kind of like just stepped our foot off the gas a little bit and got comfortable. But being in the NBA and being in like the position you are right now, really have to just keep on going until you get to the end and just keep on fighting for a playoff spot, and then eventually try to make a spot into June with the finals. So that's just my take on it. You just got to keep on going, don't stop, especially being a Laker. So you have to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think it's so easy for us to say, you got everybody back. Why isn't this working? I think there's some integration, or rather reintegration, that needs to take place. I mean, it's the same thing that I felt about Austin Reeves. Remember, he comes back from injury, doesn't look really himself, and then you give him some time, and you're like, oh, okay, Reeves is back. I think that's how it is. It's the same thing we saw with Doncic. It took him a bit to get integrated, and when he did, he's going back to scoring 30 again. I think right now there's too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, I think that, there's a comfortability with the three. I think Rui's kind of like all over the place because, he still has a role on this team and he's still very vital, but Rui was out. So during the time Rui was out, other guys stepped up, whether that's Dorian Finney-Smith, whether that's Dalton Connect, who's losing playing time. It's hard for JJ Redick to, figure out the minutes, disperse the minutes, because it hasn't been easy. You have a lot of different guys that can contribute. You have guys that have contributed, And so you look at, last night, for instance, with the Lakers, and it's like Dalton Connect plays 12 minutes. He's kind of lost his
totally
confidence.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, he totally fell off the rotation for some reason. I mean, every time he's in, he actually has like a good positive rating. He can shoot, he can make threes, he can play low defense, but just the rotation is kind of a little questionable with me right now. I don't know about you, but just a little weird.
It is a little weird. And that's the thing is that, and I know that, Rui didn't play, but my thing is, since Rui came back, it just feels like JJ. Well, first off, I'll say this. Most teams in the league don't play the way the Lakers play. LeBron finishes with 39 minutes, Doncic with 38, and Reeves 37. The reason I say that is because they don't have like another center. It's really Jackson Hayes, and I mean they don't trust anybody else. So they play small ball when Jackson Hayes has to come off, and that means the stereotypical everybody plays 28 minutes and the stars play 35 or whatever is kind of out of the realm of possibility. It's why they're probably going to have to sit some of these guys, moving forward. LeBron might get a day. Doncic might get a day. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, if they look at like that Portland game, if they're feeling good at the end of the season, they sit some guys. The game, as I mentioned earlier, not Portland, but the other, easier one, New Orleans, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit their guys. But that's my thing, man. It's like you're playing 38 minutes of Doncic every night. You're playing 37 of Reeves. You're playing 39 of LeBron, 32 for Jackson Hayes, who was used to playing like 15. But then Dorian Finney-Smith, who can do it, he's playing 30. The problem is offensively, he's not really giving you much of an output. Defensively, he's giving you a ton. What that means, though, is when you're playing everybody in the 30s, now you only have about 4 guys to disperse minutes to. And unfortunately, Connect gets the fewest minutes of those guys. So really right now, the Lakers are only playing with a 9-man rotation. That is definitely not sustainable. And so that is also a concern of mine. When you look in the finals, you look at, you're going up against the best of the best. A lot of these other teams are going to have a lot of depth. And that's the thing. The Lakers, they don't. And obviously they made a big time trade, but it's not just that for me. Like you could just, what I'm saying? Like the Lakers just don't have the depth that some of the other teams do. I feel good about the guys that they have, but you look at like the Celtics, for instance, and this is a prime example. I just brought up the box score from last night. They beat the Suns by 30. And you got Horford, you got Porzingis, you got Drew Holiday, you got Derek White, you got Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown played 28 minutes. Okay. Jason Tatum, he was out with a left ankle strain. But listen to all these guys. I mentioned only 9 for the Lakers, right? Celtics. After the 5, you got Baylor Shireman, you got Torrey Craig, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Nemius Quetta, Peyton Pritchard, and Jordan Walsh. They played almost their entire bench. Now, I know Tatum was out, so maybe that's not a great example, but what if you took the Celtics, against the Lakers the other night when they won 111 and 101? What does that look like? And ultimately, they had a lot of injuries in that game, but they actually played with an 8-man rotation from the way it looks. But that's the thing is you can do that one night or 2 nights. When you start doing that consistently, that's when it could wear on you. So I just think right now, the things that are really standing out to me that concern me about the Lakers, the lack of depth, the shorter rotations. Dalton Connect seems like a very confidence-driven player when he's not getting opportunities and he doesn't feel like there's a level of confidence instilled in him. I think that's when his play starts to suffer, just from my observations. But Ethan, I think looking at this team right now, this team can't win on the road. And they struggle to finish, at the end of games. And I just think it's a recipe for disaster when you get into the postseason. The good news is that they have guys that have been there, done that in the postseason. You look at LeBron James, right? Luka. I mean, Luka obviously was the last guy there. Of everybody on this roster, Luka was actually playing in the finals. So that will help. And I think Reeves, his clutch gene, which is very evident, is going to help. And I think some of the other factors will help. But I think one thing that is just kind of being assumed is Jackson Hayes. He's played well, but how is he going to be, when you get into a 7-game format where he's no longer just a role player. He's a guy that you're leaning on night in, night out. So I think the Lakers are going to be tested big time. And I think this was kind of, if you look at it like this, I feel like this was kind of a wake-up call. Like, when they play their best brand, they can win it all. But there are a lot of reasons why they can't. And so last night, to me, was a wake-up call just to be like, in reality, grounded in reality, this team might not win it all. They got a lot to figure out. And last night's efforts just simply isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, look, like I said, our lack of, playing a 9-man rotation is like a little hard just because, Jackson is like our main center. He's like pretty much our only center. And, to be successful in the playoffs or in general, really have to have at least 2 big men with like 7-footers that can score, play defense, assist the ball a little bit. But us playing small ball, it's not gonna get it done, in my opinion. It really isn't. I mean, if you look at these last few games, like playing small ball is just not consistent. Yes, we have LeBron, yes, we have Luka, we have Austin, but dealing with these other teams with a bigger lineup is gonna be concerning. If you play like a Denver in the playoffs or even a Boston in the finals, that long team will definitely be a problem with like us playing on offense. But my hope is like, if we can at least get someone that can join our team before the playoff starts during free agency or actually during like the buyout market or whatnot to join our team and, contribute. That's my main hope right there.
Yeah, I'm just concerned because, Ethan, the buyout market's kind of already passed. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, how are you going to get better from here and now? Is there going to be a center that becomes a bit? I mean, they swung and missed on Alex Len. It's time to let him go. He does not fit. If you're telling me that you got a guy who you thought was going to be helpful for you, and yet what you just found is that you have to play this young center with not a lot of experience. You have to start him and you have to play him 32 minutes a night. That guy is not worth it. He's not even seeing the court. They're going to small. Exactly, you just said. They would rather go to the small ball lineup than put Alex Len in at center. That should tell you everything you need to know. They don't have a backup center. Koloko, he is such an offensive liability, and defensively he has his moments, but none of these guys. Jemison, he doesn't run the floor very well. Offensive liability, and I know people like him, but these aren't guys that would ever have been on a finals team, ever. And that is where Pelinka deserves a lot of credit for getting some of these deals done. I was against it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I was totally against trading Russell for Finney Smith. I thought that was a total fleece. Now I get it. Like I understood it not long after, because you could see the team just meshes better. Just because the guy scores more points doesn't mean he's more valuable. Like in his role, I'm not saying he is Michael Cooper, but Michael Cooper was so known for his defense.
Absolutely.
He might not have put up the best numbers, but
his defense, bro.
His defense got him in the Hall of Fame,
Yep.
So that's the thing where I look at Finney Smith and I'm like, he's like the Michael Cooper of this team. He doesn't need to even score as many points as Cooper did, like 10 points per game or whatever. He doesn't need to do that. He just needs to play defense. But the problem is they really need a backup center because Jackson looks really good. He does. He just had another really good game last night. But my concern with Jackson is he's going to get worn down. And it's not necessarily going to result in injury. If it does, that's even worse. But doesn't necessarily mean it will result in injury, Ethan. I'm concerned about him getting worn down when he's going up against the best bigs in the league. And he's going to see those guys. And he's going to see more, more veterans, guys that can win in different ways. It's just hard, man. That is a really hard position to be in. And I don't blame JJ for going small ball, but at this point, if I'm Pelinka, I'm scrambling to find a center. It's just you have to find somebody to back him up. It's why, as much as the jokes are, okay, like he's not coming back, whatever. But a lot of fans were saying they wanted Dwight Howard back for a reason. I mean, I think Dwight could have given him
I agree with that.
Yeah, they could have given him some minutes off the bench.
He played with us for a little bit. He won a championship. Won multiple defensive player of the years. I mean, I would have given him a shot. I mean, for him to be on the roster with with our guys can to totally give us a shot. But in my opinion, is like if we at least continue our defense that we had for like the past 3 weeks before this tough stretch, we're obviously hard to beat. With the small ball, whether it's like Jackson's in or out of the lineup, playing a really good defense. We have been for like a long time, number one in the league for a while, and we're definitely going to be hard to beat. Right now, we're not playing the same. So if we can at least get back to that level, then I think we'll be okay.
No, I agree. I would have liked to see them go after Bamba when he was cut. I'm sure they probably think they messed up on that one, but there are other guys available. I'm not saying they're great, but like I look at like, for instance, I'm just gonna make sure he's available because I know he was available last time I checked. I'm gonna look at like Robin Lopez. I'm not saying he's great at all, but he is that kind of veteran presence.
I'll take him.
He could come in, he doesn't need to come in a long time. But I think you get a guy like Robin Lopez, who's had experience, a lot of experience in this league, and he's played for some big time teams. That might be the direction that I would go in. I just think like Len was never really good. Robin Lopez had his moments. Lopez is old, but he gives you length. He's 7'1", 281.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what shape he's in. I don't think he retired though. I don't know what shape he's in. But yeah, I'd go after him.
Anybody else. I would too, but we got 9 games left. We just got to stick with the same team. I'm still confident, but we just got to get out of the slump and play Laker basketball and just get back into that. So
it is amazing to me though how you have all of these centers, all these guys, and there really aren't many available. Like an important position, and there's hardly anybody available. I'm talking about getting Robin Lopez. I'm not even saying I'm super like confident in Robin Lopez. I'm just saying he's like the best available. There's really not a lot of guys. And again, the reason why I was like, I give Pelinka credit. I also criticize him because I feel like there were moments where, you could have made this roster a little bit better and he just kind of sat in his hands this offseason. And, whether he planned on making a big trade or not, I think that they're kind of, they're feeling that, they're definitely feeling that. And it's like, okay, you're looking at Anthony Davis and Jackson Hayes. And it's like, if you knew that coming in, okay. But also, Anthony Davis wanted them to get a center anyway. So it just felt like that was a position that they kind of overlooked. And that could be the deciding factor of how far they go this season. I hope it isn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is because you play that small ball lineup against the wrong team and you're going to get picked on. So
absolutely.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, we got 9 games left. We got, a big test coming up, especially on Saturday, which is a big game. And, Memphis team actually just fired their head coach today, which is pretty surprising.
That's wild.
Considering, they're 4th in the West, actually 5th in the West behind us. But whatever. I mean, we just got to keep on pushing.
No, we do. Do you have any final things to say? We don't have a ton to really talk about left over, but, anything left you want to cover?
We just got to win. We just have to win, get out of the slump. Honestly, that's just on my mind right now.
Yeah, it's tough because you look at like a Luka and you look at AR and these guys are playing well and they're still losing. That's a concern. So
yeah, I mean every team in the NBA faces adversity, but like I said in the beginning, it just turns out to be like the adversity that we're facing right now, right in the end of the season. But I do believe our team is like good enough and our chemistry is obviously good to get back into the mix of things and do better and make a push for the postseason and be successful, bro. So
yeah,
I still have faith, man.
I have it too. I think it's important to just be, temper expectations, especially based on last night and just.
Yeah.
I mean, man, if they don't hit that buzzer beater, they've lost 5 straight. So
shoot, tell me about it, man.
it is a little too close for comfort, but we'll see. I think the Memphis game will kind of get them back, on the right track.
We will,
but they have to, because you can't, where they are right now, based on where they are right now. Okay, going into Memphis, they're 44-29. You just said they have 9 more games. Okay,
correct.
They can't be, at the end of this 44-38. You know what I mean? They gotta.
Hell no.
They have to.
We just gotta win, bro. We just gotta win.
Yeah, I don't know if they need to win 50 games, but I sure would like to see them go 6-3 in that.
Yeah.
Because I think the other thing is that just no one really wants to win the West except for OKC. Like that's just
only, bro. As long as we get to a top 6 seed without going to the play-in tournament, that's all I care about. I mean, I at least want our team to have a home court advantage in the first round, to at least, like, since our home court record is pretty good. But other than that, we're just trying to be in the playoff spot without being in the play-in tournament. That's just, the coach's goal, like you said, but that's the main goal right now.
Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, OKC is a well-oiled machine right now. They're just winning left and right. But Houston is a team that looks like what I thought the Lakers would be at this point. I didn't think we'd be talking about the 4-6 Lakers over the last 10. I thought we'd be talking about the 9-1 Lakers. Houston's taking it into overdrive. So, the Lakers still have them twice more on the schedule in those 9 games. Denver, they're 5-5, so they're kind of floating around. They've lost some games they shouldn't have lost. Memphis is 5-5. Watch out for the LA Clippers. They're 8-2 in the last 10.
I agree.
I feel like if the Lakers don't get this thing sorted out, like, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, they've all won at least 7 of their last 10. They're gonna be in the play-in at least.
Yeah, at least.
But the playoffs aren't even guaranteed because you're only 2.5 up on the Clippers and the Warriors. You're only 3 on the Timberwolves. These are some of the hottest teams in this conference right now. So you can't let this go by the wayside because they will sneak up and steal it from you. And
that should, like, set a spark in our team. Like, oh shoot, they're lagging behind us. Really got to keep pushing and get some wins. So we can stay in our position without going to play-in tournament, because like I said before, it could happen. If you lose a few more games and these other teams win, then we can go 7th or possibly 8th seed. But yeah, dude, so it's getting real now.
It is. And I mean, it's always kind of fun to watch, but obviously would like it to not be this close. It is worth noting that, really there aren't too many great road teams in the West, but of course, the 2 really good road teams, the 3 really good road teams are ahead of the Lakers in the standings. So, it's that means you could be going to them and they could have home court advantage. Not necessarily ideal. But yeah, we'll see how things go. But yeah, that loss last night wasn't just a gut punch in the moment. It was a gut punch and a reminder that Lakers still have a lot of work to do. This is not guaranteed. And for people that are saying Lakers in 6 or Lakers in 5, temper your expectations, man, because it's going to be a long way. And I just don't think the Lakers are that much better than everybody else. I think when they play their best brand of basketball, nobody can beat them, but they very rarely play their best brand of basketball. So,
and we only play our best brand of basketball when it starts with defense, because defense is our number one priority right now. Because as you've seen for the last few games, we just can't play defense. I mean, we let Kobe White go down the court, score like easy layups. These other guys score crazy shots. Like, dude, what's going on? We just gotta play like our past few weeks ago. I mean, yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with you. So they gotta earn it. The road is not easy ahead. You got Houston twice. You got the Thunder twice. You got the Grizzlies. Not going to be easy. Warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're going to have to earn it. But that's all I got. So, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Twitter, be sure to tap in over on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button to push this out there. YouTube will recommend us. It's not super easy starting from the bottom and starting from scratch. So any bit of help that we can get from you guys would be much appreciated if you like this, of course. If you're on Twitter, again, be sure to head on over to YouTube and subscribe. We are live every single Friday, except when we're not. We'll let you know if that happens. But yeah, this is fun. I like having the platform to be able to talk about this team. They can be incredibly exciting. They can be incredibly frustrating. There's never really an in-between with them, which is why being a Laker fan and covering the Lakers is just so much fun, for better or for worse. But you guys can follow me at JK Bogan if you'd like to on all social media. You can follow Ethan over at Ethan Shirazi 24. And also a reminder, there's also another downtown show I do on my channel called Downtown Rams. We'll be live later tonight, or at least we should be live later tonight, Alexis Kraft and I. So
man,
if you're a Rams fan,
I'll be there. Let me know.
I appreciate it, man.
I'll tune in, bro.
If you are a Rams fan here, and I know some of you are, but not every Laker fan in the world is a Rams fan, be sure to check that out as well. So anyway, that is going to do it. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Next week, brother.